Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Today is it's an extra special.
Extra
special.
It's extra double wide
it's
special.
It's extra wide and it's easy. Today is going to be an easy Kill Me Now podcast.
A nice wide,
easy wide.
Kill Me Now.
You know, I've always said that I have a wide ass.
I've always agreed with you.
Yeah. Shut up. But today, I mean, we have a legend in the house.
We do.
A legend.
Yeah, you've got a couple of them.
I love this guy. All right, first of all, I love him because he's so smart.
Yeah. Remember when I introduced you guys? That was me. I introduced you guys.
I have to let you know that I have been getting emails about the interruptions. So, I'm not kidding.
You know what? I would just
because I was just introducing him, and you just cut in with, and I introduced them. So let me finish my thought.
Well, the emails I get they enjoy my interruptions.
Okay, well, those 4 people are idiots. Anyway, so the reason I love this guy, smart, creative, life experience beyond, has lived many lives, I think.
Like a cat.
At least as many as a cat.
At least as many as a cat. It's not often you meet someone who has had such a major impact on your life since you're 17 years old.
Same here, since I was 16.
Interruption. And you find out that this person is like in a beyond incredible, multi-dimensional human being. And that's what we have today on Kill Me Now. And his name is Burton Rubin, ladies and gentlemen!
No, thank you very much.
Yes, Burton Rubin.
Thank you.
Among other things, but claim to fame for a lot of people would be that he invented the Easy Wider rolling paper.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, thank you for making things easy for me when I was 16 in New Jersey. And I still purchase your product. Because to me, it's the product. There's no other product with the brown Easy Widers.
Easy Wider, Easy Wider, Easy Wider.
Right, Easy Wider.
When I put together the cigarette paper company, I didn't realize the effect actually that it in the end would have in terms of how many people would end up using the product on a daily or weekly basis, and also the growth of marijuana use in America.
Right.
30 years ago, I thought marijuana was going to be legal all over America.
Yeah, I read that, yes.
In 10 years.
Cue siren sound.
And it's 30 years, and a handful of states have made it legal, and with conditions, except in Colorado and somewhat in California.
Right. But it's absolutely, for me, and I my son's in college, and I've told him I would prefer that you smoke marijuana and not drink. And then I read an article in the Times from a doctor whose children were growing up, and she wrote that, you know, I know my kid's is gonna party.
Experiment.
Right. And
Teenagers experiment.
Right. And it is much safer to smoke pot than it is. First of all, the other thing is, has anyone gotten stoned and then beaten their wife? Has anyone,
right,
you know?
or overdosed.
Right.
I read an article about somebody who went out and smoked some grass and...
Not smoked. Wait, I'm closing the window. Fucking New York City. It's not smoked, but there was one kid I read who, you know, ate too many edibles and then jumped off. Yeah.
It is an entirely different thing. There's a chemistry involved with eating tetrahydrocannabinol that's very different than smoking.
Right.
It's processed through your liver, that's why, right? And through your bloodstream.
I believe that's the case. And it's also the amount. You can eat a great amount more than you could possibly smoke or the ingestion through smoke.
Right, and it takes 2 hours for an edible to
kick in.
And then it's hours. And then the next day you feel like shit. Not that I've ever had any.
I still
I've had a bunch.
Smoke marijuana regularly.
Right.
It's my drug of choice.
Right.
Same here.
I'm
sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you. Just hold the mic up to you. Perfect.
When I think of drugs, I think of very, very early on, and I've told this story many times, about I was kind of the first television generation.
Right.
And we would see a picture come on with this big pill. And you didn't know what this pill was.
Right.
And then you'd see a man with a hammer hitting his head.
Right.
And you would say, wow, this hammer, wow,
yes.
This is terrible.
Aniston.
This is right, Aniston.
Yeah.
I'm a 5 or 6 year old looking at a TV screen. I say, wow, this is the age to... You take one of these, or you do one of these, and it's going to change you from a hammer in your head to smiling and playing in the playground.
Right.
At that age, people are very impressionable.
Right. But, you know, also that generation, you were born in 47?
46, yeah.
46. Well, you look 40, that you were born at 47.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
A bus driver told me that. My last birthday, I'm in a bus.
Right.
And the bus driver says, well, you seem happy. I said, yeah, it's my birthday. And he said, how old are you? I said, 69. He says, you don't look 69. I said, really? How old do I look? He goes, 68.
Everyone's a comedian.
Really?
But you were born. Now I forgot what I was going to say because.
Excuse me.
It's my fault.
It's not. It's menopause and another product that I use that I think affects your memory. Now, so in 47, you know. Oh yes, there was
side effects. You're bringing up side effects.
Right, but no, I'm thinking what
pisses me off of side effects.
Yeah, but. What about the side effects if you don't do it? But here's the thing: is, you know, at that time, women were not really a major part of the workforce. And when I think of mothers of that generation, they were having martinis. They were taking, you know, in the 50s, 60s.
Mother's little helper.
That's
right. They were taking amphetamines like they were candy.
Right, and you know,
meth. Basically,
right, and it was you know, here are these intelligent, you know, women who were, you know, sitting at home, you know, waiting for their kid to come home from school. I mean, if I had nothing to do all day, I don't know, I'd go crazy.
You'd kill yourself, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at that time, you know, and you mentioned that they would say chemistry is the new. One of the commercials said something about, you know, use chemistry now.
A better world through chemistry.
Right. And, I mean, we talk about, you know, legalizing marijuana. The amount of drugs that have been used over the years. I mean, cannabis was legal until the 20s, I think. Isn't that correct?
About the 20s.
Yeah.
Right? This man, Henry Anslinger.
He was the a Surgeon General,
or something very high up in the government,
right?
And he held hearings and made it the death drug, death thing, and it scared America.
Right.
And so there was anti-marijuana legislation that was put federal legislation.
Right.
Oh, one of our favorite things to do in high school was to rent the old Reefer Madness movie and get high and watch it.
Right. The Reefer Madness movie was basically a movie that was put out to show that by taking a few tokes of marijuana, you're going to become screaming mad.
Right.
Which is totally ridiculous.
Oh,
And I used to.
It's a comedy.
They used to play these videos in health class, which were like someone smoking marijuana, and then like what? And like
Right.
planes
So
come
bizarre.
flying into their head, and and it was.
That was a little bit after my time.
Right.
But I can understand them using that.
In the
as-
70s, that's
right.
what they would do. Meanwhile,
And the 80s.
Woodstock. I mean,
I was in Woodstock.
I know everything about you.
I just, it was a matter of when you grow up and people are telling you such ridiculous lies, you start to question what else they're telling you.
Oh, sure.
It's like the boy who cried wolf. They tell you a lie, turns out to be bullshit.
Right.
They tell you another lie, turns out to be more bullshit.
Right.
And then you go, well, now the next thing you tell me I'm supposed to listen to and say, yeah?
Yeah. Well, you were born in New Rochelle. Or
I
you
was
were born
raised
in the city.
But I was raised in New Rochelle. We moved there when I was very young.
And you had older brother and sister.
Exactly, yeah.
And, I had a lot of my family my father's side lived in New Rochelle and started the synagogue, the conservative synagogue
really?
there. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it was like a suburban Westchester upbringing.
A suburb. A suburb of almost any big city in America.
And that's when the suburbs were, beginning.
The main streets in the suburbs were the big thing. It wasn't the mall.
Right. It was those little mom and pop shops.
It was pre-mall.
Right.
There were theaters on a main street somewhere.
And there's still, New Rochelle is still like that. There's a lot of towns in Westchester that are still like that.
New Rock City.
And there's a big mall there in New Rock City. But there are little streets like that, which I find to be lovely.
Well, they were charming.
Yeah. And now, that's what the Upper West Side was, and now, forget it.
It's still charming. The Upper Side is still... Actually, when I was coming up here, just to disagree, not to disagree, but it's beautiful. The buildings are beautiful.
The buildings are beautiful, but the banks
beautiful.
are really... It's
The
one
banks?
bank.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many banks. And Starbucks. And your father was a dress buyer.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, cool.
Who did he buy for?
I used to come in... Well, during that period of time, and before my father's time, the fashion industry was not centered here from a showroom point of view. It was in New York City from a manufacturing point of view.
Right.
This was before all the manufacturing went to China.
Right.
Before it went to India, to Pakistan, or whatever.
Right.
They would literally cut garments there. I remember growing up as a child, once a year my father would bring me down and walk me around to these manufacturing facilities.
In the 30th Street, like 8th Avenue?
7th and 8th Avenue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where the big button is now. They have the big... Yes.
Right, they have a big button
All
there.
fabric
there's
stores,
a tailor.
Yes.
There's
There's a
large
big
sculpture
stone
of a
tailor. Yeah, that's
There's a
pretty cool.
large of the tailor, exactly. And,
I love that one.
And at that time, he would bring me down to see what was going on.
Right.
He would buy for a chain of stores of 12 stores in Iowa and 16 stores in Arizona and another 12, so that they needed buying offices.
Right.
Now, Walmart has taken over all those stores, so they don't need a buying office. Everybody has to go to Bentonville or Arkansas.
Right.
Okay? They used to have all kinds of small department stores. And buying offices was a type of business. My father's company was one of probably hundreds that were buying offices to buy various things. He bought women's dresses. The man in the next desk may have bought hardware.
Right.
The man in the next desk may have bought
men's suits.
Men's suits,
right.
Exactly. And it was a specialist in that. And he'd write orders, and these manufacturers would ship.
Was he Was your mother very well dressed?
My mother, well dressed, humbly dressed. My mom.
Right. I mean, was he great at buying dresses?
No, it was great at buying dresses from $3.75 to $12.75. Would then retail from $9 to $36.
So, and what would that be in today's money?
Today, that might be a dress from $25 to $60.
Oh, really?
Very low price on the low end of, not couture.
Right.
Okay, not the girls who are walking down the fashion.
So he wasn't the one that was like, I'm going to buy this dress and it's going to be the trendy style.
Not at all. This dress generally was a second generation or third generation from a manufacturer who was sure that this type of dress sells well, always sells well, and would make good quality merchandise that they could ship out to these small department store chains throughout the United States.
Wow. And your mom was a homemaker?
My mom was basically a homemaker and then worked with my uncle in photography.
So very creative.
Well, yeah, she was more of the bookkeeper part of it.
Right.
I don't know where my inventing came from. I don't think as time goes by, any of us know where our destinies came from.
Well, you know, it's probably your mother, but she could never do anything because she was a woman.
Yes, but I think it was my mother who gave me the decision to take a chance to make something. Because when you're an inventor, whatever you're inventing, you're in the front. You're in the front of...
Right.
And you don't know whether or not people are going to, with Easy Wider...
Right.
Okay. When I sold the company way back when...
$6.2 million.
Well, that would be $62 million today's dollars or more.
Right.
Or more. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when I was selling the company, I never thought I'd be selling 78 million booklets a year.
Right.
I'd be in 110,000 stores.
Yeah.
When I started it, I did some research. I had written to 20 companies around the world who make booklets. Only 5 companies answered me.
Right.
I then went to them again with more statistics and more abilities.
Right, it's all marketing.
And then once you could produce something, you have to... Marketing is...
Branding.
A big percentage of.
But
Easy Wider had an advantage.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
It was generally if you're making a new toothpaste.
Oh my God!
Kill me now.
This is a kill me now moment.
Kill me now.
My fucking landline is ringing. Watch now; it'll say who it's from.
I hope they pronounce the name right.
Oh, there it goes. I can't. I'm not even getting it. Oh, please don't leave a message. Please don't leave a message. This is so fucking annoying. We're not recording in my house anymore. Let's see who it is.
Yeah, it's edits. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
I'm returning your call.
Thank you.
Interrupting the podcast?
Yes, you are.
Sorry if I am. Okay, I'll just work. Bye-bye.
That could not have been more perfect.
But she knows she's interrupting the podcast, and yet she still calls.
Hey, what's up? Am I interrupting the podcast?
Hey, am I interrupting the podcast? Sorry if I am. All right. So you invented Easy Wider because there was a need for it. When you were a kid, when you were younger, like I know that Easy Wider was like your first huge invention, but when you were a kid, were you good with your hands, you know?
Yes, generally I went to woodshop and enjoyed woodshop.
As a Jew in woodshop.
Yeah, and when I took specialty drawing in terms of mechanical drawing.
Right.
I was very good at mechanical drawing.
And like engineering.
And engineering types of things. I always wanted to improve. Now at home I have a list of things, and some of them I've made models of other products that I would intend to make had the financing or the time.
Right.
Right now, I decided to stick with the utensils that I've shown you
Yes,
before.
we will be discussing those, which I enjoy.
Right. No, but it's like I'm always trying to say, well, how can it be better? Even if in a simple way, sometimes very small changes make great improvements.
Like you gave me this pen, this Evo pen.
Right.
Okay. Which is in the museum MoMA.
Well, it used to sell at MoMA. Now you just Google it on.
Okay.
Google it on.
I have arthritis.
Right.
Okay. And when I handwrite a lot because I find it to be, much more creative. Yeah. And I have a huge callus.
Well, the reason you have a callus is because it's the body's way of showing you.
Right. That's, and this pen is tiny and, it'll
fit into any pocket.
It'll fit into it's so, I have a kill me. This is such a great, I could write with this all day and it would have no effect on my hand.
I had no idea you had arthritis.
Who knew? I have arthritis. And it's the greatest pen, EVO. I love it.
Yeah,
and it's well made, and
it's
hefty.
It's beautiful.
It's
and it's a work. It is a work of art.
It's made in the United States, and it's
I enjoy.
Which is very minimalist.
Right.
It's what's called the write out is a ballpoint.
Right.
A tungsten carbide ball in a brass seat.
Right.
Tungsten carbide is really one of the hardest materials that are known, and that's why you have a nice write-out.
And it feels like it's just an extension of your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not like you're manipulating your hand to fit this.
I'm proud to say that pen and models were accessioned into the permanent collection of the Smithsonian.
Oh yeah, birds!
That's pretty cool.
Shabbat shalom to Bert. Nachas, you bring me Nachas. So wait, so Bert, you grew up, New Rochelle, you went to summer camp, Jewy summer camp?
Yes, well, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a very, very big camper. I liked athletics. I liked being outdoors very much. So I went to camp from when I was...
Which camp?
I went to Camp Beaverkill in upstate New York.
Very nice. Beaverkill.
Not too far from the Beaverkill Stream.
Mm-hmm.
Not too far from a town called Livingston Manor. Mm-hmm. Or next largest would be Liberty. Which
right, yes, I know Liberty.
20 miles away.
Yes.
And then you continue on down to Monticello.
Right.
And then you get to finally New York. But about 125 miles in the north.
Right.
Up in the mountains where it'd be nice and cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It was... I was very...
It's a very Jewy thing.
I really missed out on the Jew camp.
It's a dream. You're living in heaven. They force you to play.
Right. That's the thing. Like, my kids
you can't sit on the bed.
You don't know how many people say to me, oh, your kids go to camp for 7 weeks.
It's the best
and I'm
thing you
like, what?
could do.
I couldn't be without them. Then you're fucking mentally ill. Let your kids go. My kids go to camp. They're not allowed to use their phones.
It was the
no
best
electronics.
Thing.
Yeah.
They can't wait.
It may have been the best part of my life and growing up and learning values and learning sports that I
But also learning how to negotiate, how to live in a group.
Right. There were 10 beds in each bunk. There were 2 counselor beds and eight kids.
And you're learning for yourself.
Right.
Not your parents saying, it is such... I hated camp because I was 6 feet tall at 12. And then they had the open shower, where, it was just, spurts coming out, little... And, in a gas chamber, not in a gas chamber, but you know what I mean, in these open showers.
It didn't make you happy.
Well, I'm 6 feet, and they're all 4'11", and their heads are, in my vagina. I have to tell you, I wore a bathing suit after I was like,
so
oh my
did
God.
I always wore a bathing suit after gym.
At the
in the
open shower.
But we had to
you were
also
there for whatever.
Yeah, and then someone wrote when I left. They engraved in the wall, Bigfoot slept here.
What a fucking dick.
Fucking fuck you, whoever you are, you motherfucker.
They're dead. Don't worry.
All right, to me. But anyway, summer camp is amazing. I went to music camp, which was really fun.
Well,
but yeah.
Camp, in any camp, whether it be music camp, whether it be horseback riding, whatever camp it is, you're put in, I think, my son Jordan went to camp in Maine for a number of years.
Which one?
I'm forgetting the name right here.
My mother went to camp in Maine.
Yeah. It's a bit cold for me up there, actually.
Yeah, I know.
But,
no, but yeah, it's so, like, you know, Jews do it. Non-Jews are like, oh, my kid's going to 4-H camp for 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what you're going to do? You're going to have a relationship with your husband. You're going to do all, you know, let your kid go.
I think it was also a good thing for my parents.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Because I had an older brother and sister, I was still the one that was holding them back from maybe doing some things.
Right.
And
were you a mistake?
Well, something that lived with me and still does.
Oh, I'm glad I could bring that up.
Every time I would sneeze, my father would say, "God bless you and keep you, because I can't afford you." And so
that really is a great thing to say to a kid.
That would stay with you forever.
Bummed me out for a long time.
Oh my God! I bet he had no idea.
You're right. I then went to my mother and said, I want to go to a psychiatrist, Mom.
Right. Oh, I remember reading this. You were like 13.
Right.
And did you get bar mitzvahed?
I did. I'm philosophically Buddhist now.
Right.
But I was brought up not religiously Jewish.
But observant.
But conservative.
Yeah.
It was the conservative. The Jews have 3 types. There's the Orthodox,
conservative, Reform.
And Reform. And in New Rochelle, where I was brought up, there were each type.
Right.
And we were in the middle. We were conservative.
Right.
That means there was some English in our...
Yeah, and Hebrew.
Women and men could sit together.
That's how I grew up, too.
Right.
Sluts,
I
all of you.
I can't with the Orthodox. But, so you... but, you know, my synagogue here now, they have meditation services now. Like, they have incorporated...
Right, other thinking.
Right. Okay, so you're 13.
The thing I like about Buddhist is that if you're a Buddhist, if you want to be Jewish, you can be a Buddhist Jew.
Right.
If you want to be Baptist, you could be a Buddhist Baptist. If you want to be Catholic, you could be a Buddhist Catholic.
Right.
Whereas if you wanted to be a Buddhist and you were Jewish, the Jews would say no. You have to stay Jewish.
Right.
If you wanted to be Catholic, the Catholics would say no, you can't.
Well,
be
they
Buddhist.
say no to everything.
Indeed, they do.
Except little boys. Hey-o.
Yay, good night, folks. We'll be here all week.
That's a whole other conversation.
Oh, yes, it
is. Pisses me off.
Oh, yes. Illuminati what?
But... So you asked to go to a psychiatrist, and you mentioned, I read that you said other friends were going to psychiatrists, and I thought, really? At that age?
Yeah, I said,
It's very self-aware.
I think it was Johnny was going to a psychiatrist, David, Gary. And
they were? Like,
they were.
Did they ask, or did their parents?
In New Rochelle at the time, New Rochelle and Mount Vernon, where I grew up, that was it was kind of standard.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, enough that, well, just like, I wouldn't say it's an exact analogy, but divorce was standard in my...
Right. And that was the beginning
of my generation.
Right.
I take 12 guys I went to college with here at NYU.
Right.
11 out of 12 got divorced at least once. At least once.
Right.
So I can't say that... I would kind of think of that as a philosophical phenomenon,
right,
as opposed to just Bert being a problem because he can't get along with his wife.
Right. But, so, all right, so you're 13, you're like, I want to go to a psychiatrist.
I want to go to a psychiatrist.
And what do your parents say?
Well, my mother said, I'm sorry, Bert, we can't afford psychological problems.
And then, God bless you.
And then, God bless you, and have a good night's sleep. And
we can't afford psychological problems.
They were not real problems. They're psychological problems.
What are you doing with making noise?
The people who are having problems are the Syrians. They're having problems.
Yes, I agree. Okay?
My problems were I was biting my nails.
Yeah, I do that too. Do you still do it?
No, I stopped at about 23. I got after, and I went to, and I've gone to shrinks subsequent to that. Okay.
So when was the first time you went to a shrink?
When I got married, I found myself unhappy.
Right. Oh, that's unusual. Bing, 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 bing. You win the prize. Yeah.
I found myself unhappy, and I couldn't understand why. And, it was like if I went out to the basketball game on Wednesday nights and it was supposed to finish at 10 o'clock, And the game was good, so we played till 10:30.
Right.
As soon as I came home, I got shit.
Oh my God! Hello, where were you? This is before cell phones, so you can't say game's running long.
Right. No,
Right.
this is way before.
Where were you? Who were you with?
Okay, now,
Bert!
Oh my
same. Now, if the next week
PTSD.
I came home early because the game was bad, it was, what happened? How come you're home early?
Yeah.
So no
You
matter-
can't fucking win.
So
I have the same shit.
I couldn't win.
Right.
And so I went to my shrink, and he said, well, when did this start happening? And I explained to him, and he said, well, your wife might be the problem. And
Smart.
I said, what, why? I mean, he says, because there's this constant thread that's continuing, continuing, that it's
Pattern,
not, this pattern that if you take your wife out of the pattern, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And
What's his
gave
name?
more
'Cause I
thought
need
to
to
it.
go,
This was many. This was many. 40. He's probably dead. So that was one time.
Wow.
Another time when one of the things about Easy Wider was that I was, as much as I enjoy and believe in marijuana, I don't for cocaine.
Right.
And because they're all illegal,
Right.
underground they move in on the same roads,
Right.
on the same whatever,
Right.
you know, to
They
a
both
great
have to be
extent.
smuggled.
Right. They both have to be smuggled. They're
Right.
dealing with the same people overseas, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately,
Right.
I personally think it should be handled that all drugs should be legal. You just have to take a 2-month course in the drug, and you decide for yourself what you want to do.
Like a gun.
Right.
Like a gun. You could take a 2-month course, you pass it.
in handling it.
Right.
Well, one of the things about camp was the NRA at that time was how to safely use a rifle.
Right.
That's
Smart.
That's
That's
smart.
how it started.
That's how when I was. It was like part of camp was riflery. That was
Really?
That was one of the things. We did.
Wow.
I used to play a lot of tennis, but
Right.
most of it was right. So once a week, you go to the riflery.
Did anyone get shot? Like
Never.
you
It was
stole
always
my,
no.
bagel? Yeah.
When I was growing up, people got beat up. They didn't
Right.
get shot.
Right. Exactly. See, I'll see you at the schoolyard.
Right.
That's the way.
Exactly.
Right.
They
We'll
handled
see
it
you
like
after
men.
school. Right. And you'd sew with your hands. You'd
Right.
go, and maybe some guy would get a bloody eye, a bloody
Right.
nose.
Right.
And he'd run home crying, and that'd be the end of that story.
Right.
Fisticuffs.
Yeah.
So you're
no guns.
now you graduate college.
NYU.
You went to NYU. You're living down on Bleecker or Thompson Street.
We when I went to college,
Yeah.
we lived on Thompson between
Right.
Bleecker and Houston.
Right.
There was an apartment,
Perfect.
3 guys. I got a really good marijuana story with these 3 guys.
Right.
These 2 other friends, they're both named Steve. One of
Right.
them unfortunately passed away.
The Steves.
But the Steves sent a bongo drum full of marijuana from Jamaica to my apartment.
No way.
That's
How was
fantastic.
it delivered? U.S. United States Post Office.
Was it delivered?
What happened, if you want the story,
Yes.
is these were my 2 roommates, and we were 3 of us were living here in Lincoln Towers at 70th.
Oh
and West End
yeah, very nice.
Avenue. 70th and West End Avenue on a high floor with a
Right.
terrace. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. We converted it into 3.
To Judaism.
The
You
3 of
converted
us,
it to Judaism.
the 3 of us are living there,
Yeah.
With the Trinity.
and all of a sudden, we get a call from my 2 ex-roommates, Steve and Steve. They're back from Jamaica. Why are you so back from Jamaica?
Right.
Well, we thought we would export marijuana from Jamaica, and we put it in bongo drums, and we were shipping the bongo drums up to the apartment. And the next day in the Montego Bay Times, we see the front page with pictures of bongo drums.
No.
With the comment, "Stupid Americans sending marijuana."
No way. No way.
Up with bongo drums. Everything's quiet. Nothing's happening. All of a sudden, Peter Stern, Steve's brother, is home. Gets a knock on the door.
Police.
No, not the police.
FBI.
It's the United States Post Office.
Right.
And they deliver the bongo drum.
No way.
Yeah, they deliver the bongo drum. But 5 minutes later, there's another knock at the door.
Yeah, right.
And it's the police.
Right.
The father was a sergeant in the police department.
No way.
They called him
Steve's father.
And Peter's
Paul
father.
Stern.
No, it wasn't Paul.
Oh, all right, whatever.
I don't recall.
There was a guy. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
They bust the apartment. But since the father was a cop, the father comes in, punches his son in the face because of being a bad boy.
Right.
The word comes out, they're all leaving, the police, that we have to be completely out of the apartment within 24 hours. Because they're coming back in 24 hours. And if there's anybody there, those people will be busted.
In that specific apartment.
In that specific apartment, which was completely furnished.
Right.
You lost the place.
We lost the place, and we moved out of the place because my two closest friends, they still are my closest friends, but subsequently to that, I went to South America with them, I went to Cambodia with them, I've been
That's a great
solar
story.
eclipses with them, etc., etc.
Oh my God.
Okay, but
and they never didn't they think, oh my God, it smells?
Whatever it was an unknown how everything in your life could change in a moment.
Now,
unbelievable.
So that was.
So they learned how to pack it up better now. I hope.
Well, they're not in that business.
Yeah, they
both become stock
Warren.
They should have known me.
Okay, wait. So you're at NYU. Now I did read a story that the U.S. Post Office. Speaking of U.S. Post Office, had a campaign where you could send in an idea for a stamp, and you sent in a stamp with the fallout shelter sign.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, did your parents say, oh my God, Bert is brilliant. No. I know you can't afford him, but you have to admit that is a brilliant stamp.
No, it was. No. As a matter of fact, I still see them on the walls of.
I still see them. Yeah, they're from my childhood.
There's one
they're all
on the building very nearby, or on your building.
There's one on our building.
Right. And, it basically was a way at that time. The fears now that the kids have of, the government hasn't decided what it's going to call it.
Right.
They haven't decided whether they're going to call it Daesh, ISIS, ISIL. And I'm sure they have assholes. Right. There's a few there's a few other terms that could be surely used.
Right.
And so the fear now, and true fear amongst children, I'm sure.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Yeah, my son, he's in college now, he's never been, it's like they get to an age where they don't feel invincible anymore.
Right.
And he's 19 and he's coming home for Christmas. He said, I'm not going anywhere near Times Square. That's what he said to me.
Okay.
And my other son's school is in Times Square, which is awful.
Unfortunately, for me, I was at 8th Street, Washington Square, and I saw the second plane
I'm sorry.
Hit the tower and watched the towers collapse and ran from the debris.
Right.
So that was my, if you're looking for a hate everything moment.
Right. Kill me now.
Kill me now. That was it. And everything pretty much changed in my life.
I agree.
From that
point on.
That moment must have changed your brain chemistry.
Well, it did. I can't look at planes now. Now, I have been to 60, well, if you include America, 68 countries. And some of them 5 times.
Right.
Okay.
What's your favorite?
I only count them once. America.
Yeah, me too. I have to tell you.
I love to live in America.
Right. I was in Canada recently for 2 weeks doing a show.
Right.
And no matter where I am, when I get to America, and I go through, and I want to hug the customs people.
No, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking that. It's like.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
I see that flag. I'm like, and
nice
now that we have to live in this sort of police state.
Yeah, it's very scary.
It's very scary. And I think it was a great idea to go into Iraq.
Well,
I thought that was terrific.
Yeah,
George
real
Bush
smart.
was.
That was real
But I
smart.
said last night, I said on stage, I said, I think we finally found the weapon of mass destruction, the NRA, which that I'm sure I'll get in trouble for, but that is
of course you will.
Well,
Good for you.
One of the
I'm proud of
things
you.
I've learned to appreciate a lot more is the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean.
Yes, absolutely.
The reason the Syrians are streaming into Greece and then through there and going up into Europe is because they can do it by walking.
Right.
You're not going to walk across the Atlantic.
Right. Well, unless God parts it.
Well, we'll see.
He parted the Dead Sea. Now, wait. So you're
a lot more work.
You're on Thompson. You're going to Cafe A Go-Go, where I have to tell you, I performed. So I started performing in the 80s, and I went to...
We're talking 64 to 68.
Yeah. But all those places, like, you remember
Art
Delugoff.
Right.
His son, I knew Art, and his son has been a friend of mine for years. We used to play piano together.
I didn't know his son.
Yeah,
I did
and
know Art
Raphael.
because it was right on the corner of Bleecker and
Right,
Thompson.
and I used to go there.
In
He
that
used to have stand-up.
blonde building, right, with black doors.
And
big black doors.
a few weeks ago, I shot a show at the Bitter End, and I was
Which is right across the
yes,
street.
and I was like, oh my god, I was 20 years old. These places.
Well, that's why New York is still. I mean, I love being here. You have a tremendous quality of energy here,
Right.
And walking down the street and seeing a Korean girl walking with a black girl, walking with a Jewish kid, walking with a Irish child, and they're all giving each other high fives and laughing. You don't find that anywhere.
It's amazing for my kids.
You don't.
And they, gay parents. They have gay kids. They have transgender kids.
Well,
in their
right.
school. They could give two shits.
Well,
it's like, oh, mommy, guess what? So and so just came out. They could fucking. They don't care.
We're very lucky to live. When I talk to people and they say, "Well, could you live in New York?" I say, because you get more intellectual space than anywhere.
How could you not I grew up in the suburbs. You grew up in the suburbs.
Right.
My mother grew up 2 blocks away in the city.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, 94th Street. And she always, and I had a lot of relatives here on the Upper West Side. And all my childhood, I remember her, I can't sleep. It's too quiet. We would come on a 3 times a year, just the two of us, to go buy shoes, because I was a size 12 at 12. And there was only one shoe store.
So?
There was only one shoe store that sold. It's called Tall Gal Shoes. It was on 38th Street across from the New York Public Library. Mm-hmm. And we would come in, and I have to tell you, the minute she stepped foot on the island of Manhattan, it was like another human being. And she always said I would pitch a tent in Times Square if I could. And it, I
obviously stayed with you.
Right.
You live in a very comfortable, nice home.
I love the city. My kids.
In the city.
I was in LA on a sitcom when Henry was born, and it was either I can stay here and be on TV, or I can move back to New York. And it was hard because I was really hot at the time. Like, I was really working all the time on every show. I had an HBO special. It was great, but I thought, all I ever wanted was for my children to grow up in New York.
Yeah, I'm very happy Jordan did.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Your son's a comedian, Burton Rubin,
yes,
and a director.
Right.
But we're not talking about him. Anyway, so you're on
I hope he's taken his high energy of doing things from me.
Absolutely.
Oh.
He's a great comic.
No question.
We might have to have him on to talk
high
about
energy,
you.
High energy is, when you were kind enough to invite me on to discuss, some things, it was like, I was thinking and writing a list.
Right.
And one of the things I put on the list was the word time, meaning the importance of it.
Yes.
Okay, and doing it. And like in New York, during the week I can get my bicycle and go anywhere. I can walk anywhere.
Wait.
I can subway.
Bert, we should get married. First of all, I ride my bike everywhere. You can ask Lauren.
True.
The other night, my brother was coming in from Arizona. I have saddlebags on my body and my bike, and I can fit 4 bags of groceries. I come home. He lives in Arizona. I'm like, can you help me with the groceries? I'm on my bike. I give him the sack. You can walk.
Like
you can take the bus.
It's beautiful.
You can take the subway. The thing about, and I love that you mentioned time, because often, I value time more than money. So when someone says to me...
Right. You can get a lot more money.
Right.
You can't get more time.
Right. And so when someone says, I'm going to take the shuttle then I'm going to wait, then I'm going to the airport, to this, to me, spending money on having more time, even an hour, if I see that the subways aren't running, will I spend money? Yes, I will, because my time is valuable. I'm not going to...
Because you end up spending, depending on what you are and who you do, but you end up spending just as much money based on that time you lost. Anyway,
some people, like my father was a depression baby. He would drive a half an hour to get a 2 cents cheaper gas.
Same as my father.
Right. And what's the point? You're using more gas to get there, right? And it's an hour when it could be 5 minutes. To me, that mentality of, I'm going to drive here because there's a bargain. Okay, so it's $10 more expensive here, and you have the whole afternoon.
Well, I appreciate
and the gas
walking.
that goes into, or whatever
I think
it
the
is.
walking is very important. And
Walking is...
That it's like, you live here, and although I live on another part of town in Manhattan, both of us within probably 3 blocks have 5 Chinese restaurants we could go to, 6 Thai restaurants we could find, at least 3 Greeks, some pizzerias.
Great Mexican coffee shops.
Because they'll be out of business in 6 months if they're not good.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. Same here. I live out in Queens.
And some of them have been here forever.
For a long time, right.
So you're at your apartment in Thompson Street, and
actually, after I go to school, after I graduated from NYU,
you worked as the head of catering at NYU.
I was a catering manager.
Right, because you had started as a bartender, then a waiter, and then you're making $200 a week.
At that time, which seemed like a good money.
That's a lot of money.
Right, in '64, making $200 a week.
Mm-hmm. That's a
lot. But I was going to school full time. One year, I'm actually, because that's the way I've lived in terms of keeping busy. I was president of my fraternity.
What fraternity?
Phi Epsilon Pi. I was voted best athlete in the fraternity system.
No way.
Jock.
I was
jock nerd. You're a
going
jock
to
nerd.
school full time.
Right.
And working full time.
Right. And you didn't smoke.
I didn't smoke marijuana. I smoked cigarettes.
Right. Marlboros, because you like the Marlboro commercial.
Of course.
Right.
How did you know?
Because I read. Okay, so then...
You're a cowboy and a badass.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I learned right nearby here, in fact, the stable is the riding stable.
Yes, 88th Street.
Right. And I took riding lessons and jumping lessons.
No way.
Yeah, that was cool.
Jumping is great for you.
Well, jumping was okay to a certain point.
Well, now my trainer...
My bones don't fix as well as they could, so I'm going to fall.
My trainer, it makes me go on the trampoline. And
that's good for timing.
And it's very good for your lymphatic system. And he just taught me how to run on it. The motion of running, and my heart rate goes, I sweat so much. I'm getting one for
A friend of mine just got me a quite a good, what do you call it, bicycle? Stable bike.
Yeah.
Stationary.
But I walk I have a little Havanese dog.
Oh, very cute.
Okay.
My friend Susie Esmond says, guys with small dogs are like the best.
Well, what happens is...
because they're secure of their masculinity enough to have a small dog?
Yeah. Also, my previous dogs were larger. One was a golden retriever and one was a yellow lab. But at this time... Also, I've been to Cuba twice.
Right.
Nice.
Have you been since we...
No, not since the
creation.
No.
Okay.
I had been there in 1998 and maybe 2004.
Right.
Or 2006. And I found it to be it's not an island, it's a country.
Right.
It's very different.
Right.
It's 900 miles long.
Right.
It's very sophisticated. It was the richest city in the Western Hemisphere for many years.
And there's Jews there, Juvens.
What? Oh, big time.
Yeah.
A lot of Chinese, too. In fact, Chinese cemeteries.
Wow.
It's just special.
So what about the St. Louis, the ship that, that they turned back, that Roosevelt turned back
No,
for the Jews?
That part I don't know.
Well, they came to Florida and then they tried to go to Cuba. Yeah, but
I know that's during the Roosevelt time, and I'm not sure. I don't know the history.
Right. Okay. So you're at NYU. You're living in Top Street. You're working full time. The first time. Now you're around people who are smoking.
Okay.
And Frank Zappa lived in your building.
Frank Zappa lived in my building. There were the Mothers of Invention was the group.
Right.
The Mothers of Invention.
Yes, I remember.
All of them lived in the building.
And first night ever.
I wasn't smoking marijuana, and I decided to smoke.
Right.
Because my two roommates were.
Right. Steve's?
The two Steves.
Yeah, Steve's.
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.